hope my camera picked that up. So I don't know if you guys just heard that, but that was a glacier just collapsing right next to us. What's up, guys? So we're in New Zealand right now. I'm over here with my girlfriend Paige. We've been traveling New Zealand for the last couple of months, and I'm giving you guys a rundown of my backpacking gear for 2024. Oh, that was sweet. What a good intro. Just a little mic change. This is what my backpack looks like when it's fully packed. No food in it right now. A little bit of water, a couple snacks. We are in Mount Cook National Park. We're above Muir Lake. So that's Hooker Lake, Mount Cook right behind us. And then off to the side, you got Mount Sefton, which is beautiful. This is what my backpack looks like when it's full. A few additions. I'm gonna start with the outside first. I am bringing a sit pad now. Paige shakes her head at it. I love it. I'm bringing a sit pad now because mainly for when I go to bed and sleep, I fold it in half to elevate my pillow. Helps me have a little more loft underneath my pillow because pillows are typically 3 inches thick. I want one that's a little bit thicker than that just because I have broad shoulders and I have a big kink in my neck if I don't use one. And it's nice for stuff like this. Also on the outside, keep my pot. I've stuck in with an aluminum cook pot. I like an aluminum cook pot because it allows me to cook my food inside of there, unlike titanium where it just burns right through instantly and potentially could burn all my food. Plastic spoon. I'd rather have a spork, but I forgot my spork back in Canada. And then just my fuel stays inside there. Fits in perfectly. This is a 20-ounce cook pot. On the note of my food, I've started making my own freeze-dried meals. I don't really buy the packets one. They're a little expensive and not quite high enough calories and protein content that I want. I've been making my own that are more filling and lighter, honestly. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see how I make my cooking meals. Next up, in my outside pack, I keep water filter. I have been using the Platypus Quick Draw for about 2 years now. It's starting to finally slow down on me. The flow rate is gone down, but it still flows. It hasn't let me down completely. I used the Catadine B-Free for about a year until 2 of them plugged up on me, and my girlfriend uses one and it keeps plugging up on her. You are able to fix it with flushing it out, but I don't want to risk that when I'm far back in the country and I'm relying on that for my clean water source. Downside though with the Platypus is that the bags that come with it and that Platypus sells also as extras, both of them have broken on me. I believe Platypus is able to replace them for free for you, but that's not cutting it. Of course, us being down in New Zealand is a first world country, but finding access to different products can be a little difficult. I am using Sawyer's default bag, which kind of sucks for filling, but it's the only bladder I could find. Next, my outside pocket, I keep my tent stakes. It's just an assortment of random tents. I have 4 groundhog tents. I have, what's this? A random brand for 2 bigger ones. I have a couple, just a bunch of miscellaneous tent stakes, all in this triangle. They work great though. You'll see what the stakes are for my special tent coming up. Last thing on the outside, which is very overkill, I have an Arc'teryx Rush jacket. This was ridiculously expensive. I'm gonna put it on though because I am cold right now. So the Rush jacket, big reason why I got it is because Dad's a big proponent of Gore-Tex from back in the 90s. Gore-Tex has changed. Anyway, I don't fully understand it, but Gore-Tex has changed the material that they use to develop it now. From what I understand, I've done some research online. Gore-Tex was advertised as lasting forever. And that's the problem, it lasts forever. So when you throw it away after using the jacket for 10 plus years, it's still sticking around and it doesn't decompose. So kind of an environmental issue. So they changed it, but unfortunately now I don't think Gore-Tex is up to the standard that it used to be. And I could go down a huge rabbit hole on this for another potential YouTube video, but I think it's just a marketing scheme now. I don't think Gore-Tex is necessary. I think there's better, lighter, stronger, more breathable products out there. Oof. Arc'teryx makes a good jacket though, themselves. I had the jacket delaminate on me, the same version of this, if you've seen from my older videos, but they replaced it for me and gave me a voucher that was worth more than what I originally paid for. Thank you, Arc'teryx. You guys are a good company that stand behind your products. I do think it's a sick looking jacket. Should have mentioned my backpack. I've been using this for about 2.5 years. This is the Hyperlite Southwest 3400 by the Baby. I love it. It holds weight great. It's getting tired though. The Dynamo on the top is starting to get a little bit of a crinkly look to it. The black is getting a little faded. On the inside, you can see where the aluminum stays. It looks like the material is stretching. I know this is about 9 months ago and it hasn't really changed much, so it seems to be fine. The bottom of the bag, as you can see in this clip, there's light coming through. It's getting worn down in there. It's been a great bag though. I've done many slides on my arse. Traveled around 3 different continents with it. It's my travel bag, it's my day hike bag. It collapses down nicely if I want to do day hikes. It's lighter than any other day bag I have. Big fan of it, highly recommend it. But will I get it again? I don't know. Since I purchased this bag, there's been new materials that have come out for other backpacks. For example, the Durston Gear Kakwa or the Z-Packs Arcall with backpacks made out of Ultra. Seems really cool. I don't know if those ones will fit me though. I have to do some further research. When it's time to replace it, I'll get either one of those, potentially, if they fit. Water bottle, just a generic brand one. This is New Zealand Smart Water Bottle equivalent. Next up, okay, my tent. Our tent, XMed Pro 2 Plus with Dynamic Floor. This thing costs an arm and a leg. It was roughly $1,259, I believe. I'll put it up on the screen, Canadian. It weighs 550 grams, but it fits me and it fits Paige lengthwise, which is difficult. 6'5". Paige is 5'9". We're not small. So finding a tent that fits us is difficult. It fits both of us though, and it's super lightweight. Now, since it's so light, but it is quite bulky, it goes on the top of my bag just to keep the weight distribution in my bag proper. So how I have to pack it. Next up, I have my electronics bag. A lot of stuff I keep in here that's gonna be focused mainly for me just because I'm a photographer. I keep some things that are a little bit overkill. I have the Anker 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank. I've had this thing for the past 3 years. It's been awesome. Big fan of it. Then I have an assortment of cables, cleaning solution for a lens cloth, assortment of Allen keys, a sensor wipe, a bunch of other stuff, extra camera batteries and cables, and I just keep it all in this little mini stuff sack. Next up, I keep my Diddy bag. This has an assortment of stuff. I use my quilt sleeping bag for my Diddy bag actually. It's a little bit big and bulky, but made of a lightweight material. All my toiletries in here. I also keep my camp stove, which is the BRS $20 one on Amazon. Don't cook a skillet on top of this, you'll break it. You can ask Paige about that. And then I keep up my lighter inside the little baggie. This is my headlamp, a no-name brand from Walmart. It's rechargeable. It's been bright. I've used it for the past 3 years. It's been awesome for me. I have my Garmin InReach in here. This is the Explorer Plus. I don't know if I can recommend this. I've only ever used it to communicate with my dad, typically while I'm in the backcountry just for weather reports and get detailed information on it. I stopped using it for 6 months when I was busy working, and then went to use it. I wasn't communicating back and forth with him. Don't know what's going on here. I've tried figuring out going through Garmin's website. I'll probably have to contact support. I know it sends texts to certain numbers, but not all numbers, which is slightly concerning if I ever need to hit SOS. But I keep the minimum subscription on and bring it with me just for that SOS feature. I'm not sure if I will need in the future, seeing how the iPhone 14 and 15 include that. I don't have a phone that has the satellite communication for search and rescue. Probably my next phone, I might get that and just disregard this. That's the gist of it for my Diddy bag. Next up, I'll keep an extra lens in here. This is a 20-75 Tamron. Lightweight, it's falling apart. I've used and abused it. I have to keep an extra screwdriver with me because these screws come loose because I stripped some of them out when I dropped it. Also, depending on the hike, I'll bring my Sigma 100 to 400, and then I also keep a polarizer on that. For my sleep system, I keep everything inside a garbage bag. Works good enough for me. How I do everything, I take everything out of stuff sacks. I don't like bringing stuff sacks. I think it's unnecessary weight. We can pack appropriately. And you have a 55-liter bag such as mine. It allows me to have room if my things are a bit bulkier. When I go hiking, I bring an extra pair of socks. I like hiking with darn tough socks. Keep my feet from stinking as bad. I don't get blisters. They're expensive, but they're worth an investment for me. And for extra clothing, Patagonia joggers to keep my legs warm. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put them on right now because I'm getting a little chilly. These are the Patagonia joggers. They keep me warm. Patagonia is good for replacing them. If you rip them up, they'll patch it up for you. They'll look after you if something goes wrong. Next, in there, I keep my Decathlon Trek 100. It's nice and warm. It's falling apart on me. A couple rips and a lot of downs falling out of it. It's a very cheap down jacket, really warm for its weight. I was a little bit of an airhead and washed it in just with a regular wash, and it's compressed it down, so it's lost its loft to it. It's not as warm as it once was, but it's still good enough. Will I replace it with another one? Maybe. There's some new stuff out in the market, and I might try to find something that's a little different just because I've used the product for a couple of years and might as well find something different. Up next, what I'll bring with me is this little stuff ball. It's my gloves, and also in here I keep a little balaclava with me, made out of Polar Tech fleece, which I didn't even realize that that's what this was made of until I looked at a tag recently. And I've owned this for probably too long. The gloves are just a generic Walmart brand. I think they're called Hot Paws. They're not the lightest, but they're nice and toasty, and the fingers fold backward are really good for when I'm trying to work with the camera, and they turn to a nice mitt. And they're nice for when you want to work a zipper. Yeah. Paige is cringing really hard behind me. For one of my big 4 items, my sleep pad, Thermarest X Therm. It's pretty heavy and overkill for most of the year, but if you deflate it all the way when you're just barely off the ground, which you can with this pad and still stay warm, it's somewhat comfortable actually. I used to hate sleeping on it, but once I started deflating it significantly, I've actually started sleeping on it well. My arm doesn't fall asleep. I used to have the Thermarest Neo Air, I believe, the yellow one. I inflated all the way, my arms would fall asleep on me. This is a lot more comfortable to sleep on when it's deflated. It is quite heavy though. This is the long, wide, squared off version. I may try going back to my Neo Air when I get back home. Since I'm living in New Zealand and I have very limited amount of stuff I can bring with me, I only brought one sleep pad. And one of the last things, it's only a 40-degree Fahrenheit or 5 degree Celsius, a lighting equipment quilt. It's an extra long, extra wide, 850 fill with 10 denier nylon inner and outer. Big fan of this quilt. I've used it a lot. I'm sleeping with it every night past few months while we were living out of the van. Whenever I travel the Echo, I use this as my blanket. It's a quilt, so it still acts as like a blanket. I love the sewed in foot box, just fling it off. And in conjunction with it, I use my sleep liner. Kind of mitigates some of the perks you'd have from using a quilt, being able to toss and turn around. I just kind of pull it up to below my armpits just to keep my quilt clean. It's the Sea to Summit reactor. It adds a little bit of extra warmth to it. Since this is only a 40-degree or 5-degree comfort rating quilt, this gives me a little bit more. And then I just sleep in the stuff that I'm wearing if I'm going to colder temperatures. And this seems to work well for me, getting down close to the freezing threshold. I am a very warm sleeper though, I should add. So I'm able to get away with this. I will probably go for a 20-degree or -5-degree quilt for my next one. 950 down. It'll be a nice Lamborghini quilt. Sometimes when I get closer to colder temperatures, I get uneasy, especially here in New Zealand. So I will pack extra fleeces and whatnot. Forgot something. My trekking poles. My beautiful girlfriend Paige got these for my Christmas/birthday present. They are MacPack carbon poles. I left my poles at home, but these things are awesome. They have a nice big chunky handle on the top, which are really great for water crossings. The carbon fiber, they're lightweight. What else could you ask for a trekking pole? Done a few hikes on them so far and they've held up good. You might have noticed from my bag that I'm missing a mid layer. I don't bring a fleece with me unless I know it's gonna get below freezing. Well, sometimes I like to bring it. I will bring a fleece instead of my decathlon jacket if it's gonna be super humid. For example, we did a beach hike recently and it was very wet on there. And I know the down's not gonna fare well in that kind of condition. I would like to get a Polar Tech fleece. They're very expensive. Paige thinks they're ugly on me. So, you know, I might as well be ugly and warm though. So that's my gear for 2024. This is the gear I've been using for the last couple of years. It's changed up drastically since my last video. I've learned a lot throughout the last few years of backpacking and hiking, and it's been a blast. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have any things, any suggestions or anything else to change out. I'm thinking about changing out this Arc'teryx jacket for our light and equipment Visp. It'll be almost a pound lighter. And then probably upgrading the sleeping bag and replacing my backpack once this one finally dies on me. I'd like to find a sleep pad that would be warm and lighter. I was looking at the Big Agnes Zoom UL. From the reviews I've seen online, is not very warm. Yeah, I'm gonna go photograph some Kias in the sunset because things are popping off right now. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. I'll be posting regularly now.